Hello and welcome to another scrapbooking process video. I'm Tracy, also known as MercyTiara, and today I'm going to be sharing with you the third of my 3 quick snappers that I created this weekend. I was trying to put a little bit of a dent in my Take Me Home kit from MercyTiara kits and also get a couple of pages documented and a couple of stories documented before I turn to the Gather kit, which released today, which is Monday, October 16th, if you're wondering. I'm starting with these 2 photos, which are printed. The larger one is printed at 3.75 by 3.75, and the other one is printed at 3 by 4. And I am going to make this be a super simple layout. This layout is one of my go-to ideas for when I either have not too much time or not too many supplies to use, because this page comes together super fast. Basically, all that we're doing is we are laying out our photos, our title, our journaling piece, and any embellishment out on the page so that they make either a shape or a grid. This is a great time to use some of your favorite embellishments from embellishment packs. So I have the Simple Stories in die cuts that came with the kit, and I picked out that one that says Kitchen Conversions because that was my very favorite embellishment in the whole kit. And then I also have that little journaling piece with the rolling pin and the little sacks of flour and sugar. I also really liked that. I thought it was super cute. So I am going to cut some scraps of paper to line up with this conversion embellishment. I'm just eyeballing it, as you can see, lining it up with the other piece. And then I'm figuring out how wide it needs to be, making a little tiny fold with my fingernail so that it lines up like that. Now I do have a little gap here between the journaling piece and the photo on the right. So I'll take a similar pattern paper. This one is more pink with gold tones, and the other one is more gold with pink tones, or yellow, I guess, instead of gold. So this is my overall layout. It's pretty much done. I'm going to add a little bit of interest because this can be a rather predictable kind of a layout. So I want to add something interesting to it. I'm going to do that in the form of some layers at the top and at the bottom. This is a piece of cardstock that came in the cardstock add-on for the Take Me Home kit. It has little tiny dots on it. It's from Simple Stories and it's subtle. Now what I'm doing here, you can't quite see, but I have that paper lined up with the 0 mark on my grid mat, and then I lined the top of that green paper up with the 12-inch mark so that I have a 12-inch piece. And that stripy paper was layered behind it so that when I tore off the bottom piece of the mint green paper, you see all of this beautiful stripy pattern paper showing through, and it's so nice. Just took a minute to soften some of the paper fibers with my fingers and roll them up a little bit just to accentuate the torn nature of the page. Now these are sitting a little bit too high, so I'm going to pull it down. I'm going to pull it down even further than this, actually. My ruler is taking up some space there. Now, I don't typically worry or concern myself too much about things being lined up, but when I'm doing one of these layouts, especially a grid layout like this, I do actually want it to be relatively lined up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I want it to be close. Now, my idea here was that I would cut the backing off of these letter stickers so that I could stick them to the paper in place without moving them. But then they came off the paper anyway, so it didn't really matter. When I cut off these titles, I always bring the plastic backing with me because these foam stickers are super sticky, and you can't use wax paper with them because they just stick forever to wax paper. So it's much easier to just cut out the plastic backing and bring it along with you as you try out your title in different places. So as you can see, it's coming together pretty well. There is another element that I haven't decided yet that I will just let you discover when I discover it. So I'm going to outline. I'm outlining with my brown Zig Writer pen. and that just warms everything up and pulls together the two papers that are kind of different from one another. I'll place my T-ruler at the top so that I can align this top edge in the same way that I aligned the bottom edge. And that doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay if the rolling pin extends a little bit beyond the line, the imaginary line that I have there. And then we'll just pop this piece in where it fits. So there you go. You can see that the corners of my grid are not exactly perfectly lined up, but they are for the most part, and I like it that way. I like that it's imperfect, actually. Now, the one little thing that I alluded to that I'm going to add here is just a very, very tiny strip of this same stripy paper at the very top, but I want only a smidgen of it to show. I'm going to cut a strip like I did on the bottom, and I'm going to align it so that it's basically 100% covered by the mint paper, just like that, so that it's lined up at 12 by 12. And now I'm going to tear the tiniest little edge off of this, and I'm just using my thumbnail to keep the paper from tearing too deep. And I don't want it to have a real back and forth scallopy look. Like, I want it to be straight for places and then dip down a little tiny bit every here and there, and then mostly straight. I didn't want it to be, you know, have that scallopy back and forth look. It's too predictable. I'm just using my fingers there to curl up the edges of that torn bit. And that is almost everything. I do have to do the journaling and a tiny smidgen of embellishing. The embellishing is going to be very, very minimalist here, but I have this amazing flare badge, which I absolutely love. It says Home Sweet Home, and I'm placing it so it interrupts the edge of this piece of pattern paper there. It grabs your eye a little bit more when things extend past the edge, especially on a layout like this that has lots of predictable edges. Anything that you can do to make it less predictable just adds to the design. Here's what my journaling says. It says, I've been collecting remint for several years now. I love how tiny and detailed they are, and I love taking pictures of them. This photo shoot inspired me to make eggs and rice kawaii style. So the photo on the left is a posed photo. I was just playing around with lighting and trying to make it look morning and evening and different kind of lighting scenarios with my camera. And I took that picture of the bowl and the little pot. And then a few days later, I was at the Japanese store and was inspired to buy some molds so that I could make my own kawaii food. And the girls really loved it. Now we have quite a bit of difference of texture, believe it or not, even with these few things. It's a very minimalist layout. We have the shiny of the flare badge and also the Let's Eat on those foam stickers. We've got torn paper, we've got cut paper, and now here we have more foam. And I just put these 3 hearts in 3 different places that form a visual triangle for your eye to travel around the page looking at those little heart foam pieces. So that one is a wrap, and since this is the last of 3 layouts that I did all together in one afternoon, I thought I would pull over the other 2 so that you can see what they all look like together. And with the creation of these 3 pages, I feel like I put enough of a dent in my Take Me Home kit to be ready to move on to the Gather kit, which I will be doing. The next process video that you see from me will either be a Project Life video from before that I've already edited and just haven't made yet, or it will be a layout with the Gather kit. So before I share the photos with you, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to my Patreon supporters. These folks help make this channel happen, so big thanks to all of them. Patrons get early ad-free access to all of my process videos, real-time unedited versions of my videos, a monthly live stream, and a few other things, so thanks so much to them. And thanks to you too for checking out my video and for sticking around to the end. Here are some of the places that you can find me on social media. Please give me a like. Consider sharing and subscribing if you haven't, because those really do help out my channel. Thanks so much for watching and have a really great scrappy week.